Staining and finishing is what can transform your DIY project into a finished piece that will be a beautiful addition to your home. Tackling any new experience can be intimidating, and while the directions on the can are vitally important to success, there's nothing quite like getting to learn from the experience of a real person. In this series, I'm going to walk you through the basics of prepping your workspace, conditioning or prepping the wood for staining, and applying a clear finish. And I'm going to give you advice from my personal experience. I'm Kirsten Dunn, and this is Dunn DIY. Make sure to check out our blog post for the written tutorial for this process. If you're watching on YouTube, click the link in the description below. Staining and finishing is one of those funny things that may feel intimidating, but isn't actually that difficult. And if this is your first time, I just encourage you not to pick your favorite project to try it out on. Before conditioning, staining, or applying a clear finish, it's important to prepare. Start by picking a location. Choose a spot that's relatively dust-free and out of the way of children, pets, and weather. Read the label of the products you'll be using and stay within the recommended temperature range to ensure everything dries correctly or at all. And because most stains and finishes have some odor, you'll want to pick a spot with good ventilation. Make sure that your wood is fully dried. If it's been out in the rain, either in your backyard or at the lumberyard, leave it in a warm, dry area for a week or two. If the wood feels wet to the touch, or if water is exuding from it when it's cut, let it dry longer before staining. Before you begin the staining process, make sure that you are at the best point in assembly. This is something important I've learned over the years. Depending on the project, sometimes it's best to stain before assembly, and sometimes it's best to wait until after. This is something I'll call out in my DIY projects, but if you're doing your own project, take the time to think through the steps and decide when the best time to begin the staining or finishing process is. For example, if you're using putty or wood filler, make sure that you follow the directions and have applied before or after staining as called for. And always make sure you've sanded everything as much as you need. Next, lay out a drop cloth to protect your work surface. I prefer a plastic-backed canvas cloth because the fabric absorbs conditioner, stain, or finish, but the plastic underneath provides a firm boundary between your work surface and your work. Lastly, it's important to remove dust from the wood surface. There's always dust in the air, and if you've just sanded, there will be very fine sawdust on your project. You can remove dust with a tack cloth, which is a cloth coated in a wax, with a vacuum, or with a rag dampened with water or mineral spirits. Whichever method you prefer, check your directions to make sure it's compatible with the product you're using. For example, tack cloths shouldn't be used before applying a water-based finish because residue left from the tack cloth can get in the way of the finish going on evenly. Pre-stain wood conditioner is a way of preparing the wood to receive the stain in a uniform way. Since wood pores are irregular, a conditioner can be used to reduce the likelihood of blotchiness from the staining process. This is especially true of soft or porous woods. I know this is an extra step that may just seem like a hassle, but depending on the longevity of the project, it's absolutely worth it. Wood conditioner can go a long way to making your finished project look more professional and polished. It always takes less time than I fear it will. My only problem is remembering to do it. Pick a water-based or oil-based conditioner depending on the type of stain you're using. Match water-based with water-based and oil with oil. It's always safest to use the same brand to ensure that your conditioner and your stain are compatible. Otherwise, I'd recommend doing a test on a scrap piece of wood. Always thoroughly mix the conditioner before application. Apply the conditioner to the wood with a foam brush, a lint-free rag, or with a natural bristle brush for oil-based conditioner and a synthetic bristle brush for water-based. Apply the conditioner in the direction of the grain so that it's more easily absorbed. Just as you applied in the direction of the grain, you'll also want to wipe off in the direction of the grain. Be sure to apply stain, your next step, within any window of time that may be mentioned on the can, or else the conditioning won't help you at all. Adding wood conditioner to your project is a quick and easy step that ensures that your stain will look its best. Trust me, you'll thank yourself for it later.